The Golden Gate Bridge, the world-famous Alcatraz Island prison, and right across San Francisco Bay, there's the perfectly named Treasure Island, where Gaelic games are played every week by the likes of North American champions the Ulster Club, and by boys and girls in training for going back to Ireland for the Feile.
Going out to the cone, guys, turn!
It's an unbelievable setting here. I suppose you have the weather as on top of everything else, I suppose, which they probably don't get in other American cities. It's a really attractive place to come to. The facilities are magnificent, well organised, good people on the ground. I think you can have all the structures you want, but the people are good. The people on the ground are good, and they're doing it for the right reasons, for a love of the game, and to promote the game and to kind of have each other's backs out here. And that's what they do really well out here. That's what I like about this club in particular, the Ulster Club. They just seem to have a little community going. You don't get that with other clubs. They think people come and go, but the Ulster Club seem to have it cracked. I think if there's a template for how to do it in America, it's the Ulster Way of doing it. Really seems to be the right way.
As well as Dara, the GAA president, and Peter Canavan were in San Francisco to celebrate 30 years of the Ulster Club, who have won 4 of the last 5 North American senior championships.
It's a very vibrant wee club here in Ulster. There's a lot going on. And I suppose you've got to thank the elder statesmen here, the likes of Joe Duffy and Seamus Canning and boys like that, Hugh Morgan, that have done such a great job and fostering the game and keeping these lads at it. So it's great to see.
It's hard to believe they've gone 30 years. A lot of Tyrone guys down the years as well. Hub, for example. Stevie O'Neill has been out here as well.
Yeah, that's right. Hub actually left the club a wee message last night. It was very good of him. You'd hardly know him with the glasses on him, but yeah, a lot of Tyrone lads, a lot of lads from the north, Armagh boys and Dara lads have been out and continue to come out. And I must say they appear to be very well looked after, and I know the lads at home would speak very highly of the club out here, and that's great to see.
And what do you think of the way they celebrated 30 years and the fact that they've done 30 years?
It's a huge achievement for them, because I suppose they had gone, for the early years without winning a North American championship. Next thing, they become the most successful club in North America, and they still managed to keep that kind of personality in the club. Sometimes a bit of success can clean out, can destroy a club, but it's actually a club that's gone from strength to strength 30 years on. If you did what they did last night at home in terms of their organising a dinner, you wouldn't draw a crowd. They just have that, no questions asked, people show up. Glitz and glam, and where even the location and the organisation, the level of organisation that's there, everybody running around doing their business so the operation runs smoothly. It's a testament to the work that's been done all year, and I suppose last night was just the high watermark of that.
You were at the dinner exactly 10 years ago. What were your impressions then and now? How have things changed?
Well, I got to know this club 10 years ago first through a Kerry connection. An old schoolmate, Kieran Collins, asked me out, and at the time relations between Ulster and Kerry weren't exactly the best, because Tyrone and Armagh were beating us, I suppose, at home, and it was a strange one at the time. But 10 years later the club has grown. The level of organisation is still there. There are a lot of the same people doing the same things, but even better, and the passion is still there, which is important, because it can go over the years, but the passion is still there. When you see the likes of Joe Duffy and the work that they do, we see it for a weekend, but what they're doing all year, the likes of them, Terry Tracy and the lads kind of going around making people feel welcome, all that stuff it's priceless. You can't put a price on that. They meet you at the airport, they tell you, and they get a mattress for you, they get an apartment for you, and they look after guys. Kerry, for example, Jack Barry is a coming player in Kerry at the moment. I'm sure if you spoke to him, he developed his game, his personality. He's developed as a young footballer out here. He learnt his lessons out here, and that's priceless stuff that you can't put a value on, and they're still doing it 30 years on. It's a testament to them.
Your first time in San Francisco, what are your impressions of the place and indeed of the way they ran their event, their celebrations?
Yeah, with weather like this you could stay here the very best, Jerome. Yeah, they put great effort into the event, and I suppose it's nothing but what you would expect. And myself and Dara, Ó Cinnéide were privileged to be honoured to attend their 30th anniversary last night, and I must say they were great hosts, and a great night was had by all.
And what about this morning here with the kids? Now, were you surprised to see them and how good they are?
Yes, the standard, I must say, did surprise me. The girls as well as the boys. They're really up for going back home in June and competing in the Feile, and going on what I've seen here this morning. I'm sure they'll be well able to hold their own over there. They're very excited, and once again, their coaches. There's 2 or 3 coaches, maybe 4 with the lads, who are putting in great work and giving off their time. No different than the clubs back home. So that's great to see, and hopefully they'll have a successful trip when they go back home.
You've done some great documentary programmes out here in recent times, and you were in Boston 2 years ago when the Ulster Club won 3 in a row North Americans, which was an amazing achievement. I'm wondering what impressions that made on you and the standard that team reached, how good they were.
Well, I was keenly interested in the final that year, because the Shannon Blues had 2 or 3 lads from my own club at home, and they're decent players. But they were cleaned off the field the same day. They were absolutely wiped. And these are decent players now, that were there. And I was speaking to them when they got home. Even they were blown away by the standard. They were it was like 2 different leagues. But what Ulster have right, you see, they have a strong home base, and that's important. I mean, their roots are here. They're not uprooting year after year. Their roots are here, and then whatever does trickle into them from home is made to feel part of it straight away. And you can that shows itself out in the field. It happens. You can have all the talent you want. You can have the inter-county players, but these lads are just good, solid, strong home-based players, and they have that spirit. Brought to North American championships over the years, and it stands them. And as I said, I think it's the model for any club that wants to achieve out here, in terms of what they're doing, growing it home based.